who wins is who determines who's the good guys. Because the good guys are the ones who can tell the story. They're the ones who write the history books. The people who write the history are the ones who won. You know what I mean? Who can tell the history how they want to tell it. And I was thinking, it's kind of interesting when it comes down to like the foundation of America and how America was built. When you really look at it, in a lot of ways it was built on genocide and human trafficking. Genociding all of the people that were native to this land and then using, human, human labor, black labor, slave labor, to build this entire world we're living in. It's pretty wild. And in some capacity, fundamentally, that's what it means to be an American. Like, that's not the only thing, but it's in there. There's a lot of things, right? Land of the free, home of the brave. There's all of this, like, carnival, circus culture that's like it's a smokescreen for what like America kind of really represents. But it all kind of like, it all seeps to the top and we all see it. But it's almost like, it's interesting when the people within the society benefit. We benefit. There's certain things that come with that. And I feel like maybe as a white American, I think they know that there is a culture of underlying racism that allows them to benefit off of that, of the system. It's just what it is. And I think that for them to want to end that, it's like, it's almost going against their own fucking, incentives. It's pretty wild. And so, like, you're living in, like, from my perspective, being a black man, living in this environment, it's almost like everything is like, it's almost like being held up by a deck of cards or toothpicks. You know what I'm saying? And then we're living in, like, that's how I look at it. That's how I see it. Cause I can see, like, the underlying, just, like, discrepancies that are just, like, right in front of our faces. Like, racism. And, like, racism now, it's, like, it's not the way it used to be. It's not just, like, so overt. The overtness is what made it so obvious, but now it's the covertness that allows it to be like a smokescreen. Allows it to be a smokescreen. To me, it makes me just think, like, you know what? Why try to, like, win in a system like that? Why try to, like, because I feel like to win in a system like that, I would have to, in some capacity, sell out. I would have to subordinate myself. And that's why I realize I have to have my own business. I have to own myself. I have to create my own sovereignty, especially as a black man. I feel like everyone, really, not everyone should. Everyone should do whatever the fuck they want to do. But I feel like if you value your freedom, you should want to do that. And I feel like, even racism in America, I don't think it's about the subordination of black people, because capitalistically, economically, we only own 1%, like half 1% of the wealth, of the capital in America. We only own half, so we don't really own. They already have us controlled. I think racism is a control mechanism to control white people, which is crazy, because it makes white people believe in a system that treats us, the black people, as a scapegoat, so they continue to fund this system that is actually designed to extract from them. And I feel like that makes a lot of white people psychologically dependent on the system, and basically worker bees for the fucking pyramid. You know what I'm saying? The bottom slaves to keep the system going, and it's crazy. It's kind of crazy. It's fucking wild. It's like a gigantic web of, like, psyops going on, and we're just kind of, like, all in it. And, like, my only way to, like, step out of it is, for me, my thought process is to move out of America. I'm like, yo, I need to just leave this country. I need to go to Africa or something. I know I need to go to Africa. I know I got to. I just got to get out of America. I need to be able to like see it from another perspective. I need to be in another culture. I recognize it. I know I know I need to, because I feel like being here, there's something I feel like I'm slightly always tolerating about society. And I feel like maybe that comes with everywhere you go, but there's certain things about race that I feel like I naturally feel like I'm always tolerating it. And I feel like, you know, when I go into stores and I go places, I don't feel like people are being racist to me. But I feel like there's a certain like bias. Like when I walk in the stores, I still feel like people are looking at me, or like there's like this weird like fear, like right beneath the surface from a lot of white people, and I'm just like, God damn, like it's weird. Or even like microaggressions and shit like that, and I'd be like annoyed by that shit. It's just like this shit isn't gone, and it's like it's not gonna go anywhere because the system is designed, it benefits off of that. It's so annoying, you know what I mean? So it's like you can't convince white people to not be racist, because it's like like you couldn't be a white American and not, you have to have it to live and prosper in this system. It's just part of it. And so it's just like that comes from excluding us in environments, subordinating us in environments, using us to enrich the environment, you know what I'm saying? Tokenism, things like that, like hip-hop culture, making it cool, but never to really like be like have any form of real power in that environment, to like where you own the environment. That's why you have to own your own stuff. That's why I feel like I have to own myself. I have to own my business. And it's just like, I'm not even trying to like yell at white people, even though I have a lot of things to say to you guys. I'm not mad. I really do. But I look at it like from another just gigantic perspective. Like we're all in the bucket. Like it doesn't matter what race you are, but it does. It does. It does. But it's at the same time we're all being pimped by the system. The system's designed that way. If you're depending on, you know, it's no matter where you are on it, but especially if you're towards the bottom. Right now, for businesses, I want to have an online business completely separate from the land. I don't want to have to rely on the land. My business is going to be me, Joshua, Jakarta the God. Jakarta, like me as a brand, and my influence and my ability to garner eyes and attention so that I can sell marketing, advertising, you know, and then I can put my name on businesses and start businesses that way. I feel like, because like I want to have sovereignty over the land. I want to know that my ability to accumulate capital. I don't want it to have to be reliant on one space, one city. When you have the whole internet that gives you global access to the fucking world. I have to be able to make all my money from this fucking device that's in my fucking hand 24/7. Like that's 100%. I realize it more and more, and that's why I probably took a step back from music, because I was like always so focused on music, and I feel like my priorities weren't straight. I was like, you know what, music is something like I love to do and I want to do it all the time, and that's where my mind is headed. But I have to financially invest in myself. I have to prosper. I have to start thinking about that so much, because that's like the engine to being able to do whatever you want. And the problem that I'm having is I just feel like we're living in a fucking world where everyone's so enslaved by the society we're living in, where most people, if you talk to them about becoming financially free, it's like speaking a whole nother fucking language that they don't even want to learn. And people are so comfortable and so like just like endowed. I don't even know what the word is. It's like I'm trying to think of what Morpheus would say in the Matrix. We're so fucking brainwashed by slavery. We're like it's not even like culturally acceptable to talk about money when we literally spend the majority of our lives working for that resource. It's like not cool to talk about. That's fucking retarded. That's so stupid. And so for me, it's like I feel like I'm just like the only person out here, but I gotta find people who, you know, who I can vibe with, and I recognize I gotta use the internet. I gotta use this motherfucking internet, and I gotta just create, and people who are on the same wavelength, we will magnetically manifest one another, when we could build together. You know what I'm saying? I think I should build like a Discord or something where we could all get together and like just keep the culture of like the concept of prosperity and freedom. Because you know what? A lot of times I realize that a lot of my dreams and goals is more about freedom. I feel like this may be hyperbolic or whatever, but I'd be like, yo, we're living on a plantation. It's a gigantic plantation, and now it's like modern slavery. We have to free ourselves again. Like, we have to free ourselves again. And you know what's crazy is that Harriet Tubman, I was reading something about Harriet Tubman, and she said that, because they said that she freed 300 slaves. You know what I mean? That she freed them, but they asked her, she was saying she could have freed thousands more if they knew they were slaves. If she could convince them that they were slaves, they knew they were slaves. They didn't know. They were totally in it. They didn't even realize that they were a slave. So it's like, that's kind of our society now. And it's like the world pulled in front of our eyes. We think we're free. It's like free reign slavery. It's a free reign plantation. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at the dollar bill, you know, it has George Washington. George Washington is on the cover of the most famous fucking flyer on the world, the dollar bill. And he's the mascot, like Burger King. You know what I'm saying? The King and Wendy's. We got Wendy. George Washington is the mascot. It's the most famous fucking flyer on the world. And that man owned humans. By the time he was 10 years old, he inherited like 10 slaves. Imagine being 10 years old and as a child, a baby, and you're like literally, and you own humans, grown ass people. That's fucking crazy. And so if just the concept, not even to make it about white and black, just the concept of it being morally okay at that time to own other humans. That's the person. That's his belief system. And so now that's the person that's on the fucking dollar bill. What does that tell you, motherfucker? What does that tell you about the world we're living in? It's about owning humans, bro. Humans owning other humans, bro. They even that's why the triangle, that's why the fucking pyramid's on the back. The pyramid is a symbol. Pyramid, bro, is that the people at the top hold most of the resources. The people at the bottom work the hardest and keep the least. The people at the top work the least and keep the most, baby. And the higher you go, the more power you have over that. Because money is really just the stored time and energy of other human beings, bro. It's really what I think it's just like the natures of the animal kingdom. You know what I'm saying? It's just what it fucking is. You know what I'm saying? And maybe there's a better alternative. Maybe there is, but I don't think it's gonna come from our consciousness, because I just don't know if our species can do that. I don't even know if we're psychologically capable. We have this lizard brain that's constantly it's just what it is type shit. And you know what? You know, in the jungle, you know, a lion doesn't give a fuck. It's gonna eat a baby deer. If a deer is just sitting there with the other brothers and sisters, if it sees that, it's not going to think, maybe I should have some empathy and maybe let these ones live because they're so cute. No, they're gonna eat them automatically. It's just like there's certain things that are written within us as the human species, as animals, as primates, evolved primates, apparently. So I don't know. It is what it is. I guess that's just like an overarching concept that I look at it where I'm like, you know what? You could change the world for the better, but I don't know if there's necessarily, you can truly overly save the human race. We're almost, it's just something that maybe we can prolong it. Maybe things will get better in some capacity with technology, but I think we are the same human beings that were alive 100 years ago. It's just different times. We still have the same brains. It's the same brains of the people that were alive 100 years ago, 500 years ago. It's literally the same human. It's not like we've evolved anything different. Our minds are different. But it's the same physical makeup. So by that logic, how could you trust anything in American society if you knew that like 50 years ago, it was morally okay to be racist, overtly racist? You know what I'm saying? It was morally okay. There was nothing wrong with having a sign that said whites only, or there was no there was nothing wrong with calling a black person a nigger and like treating him disrespectfully. Like there was nothing wrong with that. And so that is why you can't trust society, because it's like, if you, let's say that law was erased in this day and age, how many people would exercise that ability? How many businesses would exercise that? And that's how you would know who's a good person and who isn't a good person. But I feel like a lot of people would exercise it, and then you would see who people, what the world really is. You know what I'm saying? It's interesting. It's almost like if there was a law that just, if there was like, okay, no more laws, you can commit any crime, you can steal, you can murder, you can do whatever the fuck you want. You know what I mean? The people who will refrain from it and because they know that's not right will be the people that will fucking, are the good people. They're the ones that are probably the good ones. And so it's like, we should make racism legal. Maybe that's the key. We should make racism, all of it fucking legalized, so that we can tell who's like racist, who are the racist white people and who aren't the racist white people. So that racist white people can be racist, and then we know, and then we don't have to like try to intermingle with them and try to live within their society if they don't want us there. You know what I'm saying? I would rather that than like moving into a city and thinking that I can prosper in this city and succeed in this city, not realizing that the whole entire economic structure and the political structure is set by, you know, white people who have a certain belief system that has fucking been like fucking cycled for the last 100 years, bro. Why would I fucking, you know what I'm saying? I would rather know that, but that's not how it's gonna be. You know, they're not gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? Art of war. Why would you tell the enemy? You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a problem too, is that, you know, it's just what it is type shit. It's just like, it is what it is. Trying to change something that is bad, that is inherently choosing to be what it is kind of like, I think it's a waste of time. And I'm realizing that as a man living in America, or as a black man, specifically in America. And I could talk about all of us, but I feel like as a black man specifically, I'm like, oh, this is what it is. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I think the big part is like, and because our society is basically like created and built on racism, economically, politically, socially, it's built on that foundationally. You know, it's to try to convince people that it's wrong to be racist is kind of like, it's almost asinine, because people rely on it regardless whether or not they're socially racist. Within their political space, they are. You know, they're relying on institutions that are designed and built on keeping blacks out and keeping it the majority white. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, but like, the thing about black people, the thing about that white people do not understand, I feel like this is a moral issue. This is like moral. I feel like I don't mean to make white people feel bad. I'm not trying to make white guilt. I just think white people should be really like more like looking at themselves in the mirror as a culture, white culture. Think about this. When black people are alone and we're talking, we never talk bad about white people for white people being just like themselves as people and their culture. We only talk bad about racism. It's almost more like we're just tired of white people treating us a certain way, like subordinate. Like that's it. We're not like calling white people crackers and racist names and saying fuck them, and we don't want them around us, and we don't do that at all. Like maybe some black people do, but for the most part, black people don't talk about that. But white people do that about black people. They will literally call us niggers and not want us around and say we're this, that. It's like, and that's totally acceptable. That's like totally okay to be. It's like written in the fabric of being white. It's like it's morally okay to be racist. Isn't that crazy? And I'm like, yo, don't you guys think that's not cool? And some people will be like, no, I think it's cool. It's like, okay. I understand tribalism. I can understand that. But like, overt racism, I don't understand that because I'm not a hater. I can understand being angry, cause you know what I'm saying. And so like, if a white person is mad at a black person for just being black, is crazy. You know what I mean? Because if a black person's mad at a white person, it's never for the fact that the white person's white. It's for all of the shit that comes along with that, and like the things that they've done specifically to our people. So it's like we have justification for our anger. We have justification, and I feel like that. And it doesn't mean that black people are infallible. We don't do no wrong. It just means that there's more justification for that, and I feel like people don't recognize it. It's like, yo, if you don't recognize that, you're a fucking retard. You're either just ignorant and you don't know, or you're choosing ignorance. You're choosing it, and a lot of people are choosing it because it's comfortable, it's easier, and especially in a world where everyone wants fucking comfortability. You know what I mean? It's even more like that. So it just makes it even more of a sticky situation. And I'm like, you know what? Why try to fight it? Why just accept it? This is what it is. All I can do is like empower myself on the chessboard. I can't change these people. All I can do is become smarter and stronger. The only two options you have to become smarter and stronger. Simple as that. That's the solution. Stronger, smarter, and find your people, and build your own economic, monopoly or whatever within your own people. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. I'm still learning about all that stuff. But let's look at the messages. Let's see what people are saying. A whole lot of nothing. And that's a good question. Why would white people do it? They're thinking about themselves. And that's very fucking true. But it's like, if you see injustice happening in the extreme sense and in the subtle sense, you should say something. That's wrong. But if you choose not to say anything because it benefits you not to say something, that's what does that tell you? What does that tell you? That's not good. And I think that is basically the culture. And it's totally okay, and it's acceptable. And it's very difficult to talk about. It's very difficult to diffuse, because it's like a gaslight, it's a smokescreen. It's hard to pinpoint everything as racist or like microaggression, especially if it's not overt. So it's a lot of smoke screens. It's a lot of smoke screens. But you see it, you know what I'm saying? Especially in these cities, I'm like, oh, a lot of the jobs where there's black people, the black person is either the security guard, they're the token black person who acts white, or they're the gay black guy. You're never gonna see a black man who's like a manager in a leadership role over, in these corporations. You may see it, but it's not something that you're gonna see. And if you're gonna move up in that corporate structure that is dominated by a foundation of whiteness, then what does that tell you? You have to, in some capacity, sell out. You have to, because some capacity, you have to, some capacity, sell out, period. To really, and you know what I mean? Whether, and then however way you want to call it. It's kind of interesting. Someone said Trump. Dude, you are white. You must be very blind. You must be blind. But that's an interesting thing. That's a lot of people do. They try to discredit me, and they try to say something because you're white. And like, why? Because your skin isn't dark, and because you're talking a certain way. Like, nah, like, nigga, I'm not. Nah, cracker, I'm black. Anyways, I have 3% battery left, and I will be back to talk very soon. Peace.